This was truly a tragic accidente, and graduated, but there was this glitch. Of course there was a glitch. There was this glitch.
Wait, what about our couch? Where's our couch? That bitch stole our couch too.
But then they gave me some, delicious queer vibes. He got bitten by an alien at work. I just think it's important to have mental health issue rep in my gameplay. The world was on fire and my mental health, as I've written, was in the shredder. Now, she was undoubtedly traumatized and exhausted and broke the NDA, but he still had a cult following and ended up founding a cult. A cult whisked away by a prince. Yes, we're getting married. I need a second. Una segunda or whatever, I don't know. Not only back or forth in time, but to a completely different dimension called Hawea Lahela. Vähän niinku lohila. So I've been running on coffee, grapes, and love this whole day. I burned the house down. Hi, Sul Sul. It's really good to see you. Did you do something with your hair? If you've been here before, you are probably familiar with my Larsen Legacy, which I've been playing since 2019. Currently, my save is so broken it won't save. It's unplayable. Not an easy fix, so I can't play Sims right now. But anyway, so I'm on generation 28 now. Listen, I love to get all crazy and chaotic with my Sims gameplay. It is how I let everything bad out of my system so I don't do it in the real world, I guess. So you bet your bottom dollar we've had some insane shit happen. On my channel, you'll find that I've already made part 1 of this Storytime series where I tell you all the aforementioned, is that a word? Insane shit that's happened in my Larsen gameplay, where I covered gens 1 through 7. And in order to hop into this video, I'm not gonna lie, it'll make a lot more sense if you watch that one first. But I'm not gonna turn you away, I'm here to entertain you. So if you wanna stay for a bit and take a sample of my content, I guess, see if our vibes match, you are more than welcome. Let's hop right into it because this is going to be a long video. I've already edited the whole video and it was so fun. I've put 20 hours into this, which is insane. Let's do a real quick recap of where we left off in the first part. Okay, so Theo, our Gen 20... Riikka, 7 heir, had just emerged from the bunker where her apparently immortal, and definitely deranged great-great-great-grandmother had kidnapped her too. And yes, so Kayla, she'd come clean about her whole illegal cloning business and everything. And then I did a little time jump and mentioned she married Orange, the guy whose parents Kayla murdered. And they had 2 kids, one of whom is Sawyer, our Gen 9 heir, where we'll start right now. So grab a fun little beverage, maybe. Get comfy cozy. I hope you enjoy. I sincerely hope you enjoy. Story time. Sawyer didn't have the worst childhood, but he definitely grew up with a strange relationship with his dad, but his mother Theo he adored. He was also on decent terms with his sister Monica. In his teens, he had a complicated fling with Olive Tinker, the daughter of Tina Tinker, his family's enemy because she had an affair with our dad Orange. It started with her being a crazed, I've written karst, and enthusiastic supporter of Orange's, who at this point was a well-known politician. But this was not his only affair, because later another supporter he messed around with blackmailed him out of 2 million simoleons by claiming he was embezzling money from a charity he ran, which was true. He paid the 2 million and off she fucked, but he was not able to keep this from Theo and had to come clean about the affairs, and this was just the final straw for her. Their marriage had already been on the rocks due to him being, a manipulative narcissist. But mind you, this all took place when the kids were little, when Sawyer and Monica were little. And to protect them, they decided to stay in a loveless marriage and also hide it from the world. Coming back to when Sawyer was about 17 and having this anger and hate-fueled on and off again situationship with Tina Tinker's daughter Olive, it was a mess. And it will only get messier in generation 9. So just remember that Sawyer and Tina hated each other, all right? But there was this one time when they messed around in the hallway closet of our house, and afterwards Sawyer felt so confused and conflicted. He actually sat Theo down to ask for advice on relationships without telling her he was hooking up with Olive. I'm also just looking at my lighting again. I hate it. I can't figure out my lighting. The background always looks too dark, so we're rolling with this. If you can't stand to look at it, I'm very sorry. I am not a professional YouTuber. Eventually, though, Theo and Orange called it quits for good, and while Sawyer took his mother's side and moved in with her, Monica chose to stay with Orange in their Sul Valley mansion. By the time the divorce was finalized, Theo was dating Genevieve Shaver, a mega famous horror film actress who welcomed us into her San Myshuno penthouse with open arms, and Genevieve and Theo were an iconic duo. So they were endgame. Theo switched careers from a civil engineer to a journalist, kind of in hopes of exposing corrupted, powerful men such as her ex-husband, speaking of whom he ended up having another scandal which ruined his politician career, but he still had a cult following and ended up founding a cult with his new wife, Siobhan. That's the last we'll hear from him. Thank fuck. Quick side note that blew me away when it happened was that one time Harriet, Theo's mother, showed up at our house 3 trimesters pregnant. Mind you, this was when Theo, her firstborn, was probably already an adult, and she and Ian just popped out one more baby daughter they called Kara. She doesn't come up much because I felt she was so disconnected from where we were currently in the legacy, but she became an astronaut and married that Kiyoshi guy from Snowy Escape, and they had a kid, Wendy, but that is where like that branch of the family tree dies. The lighting, it's because the only place this desk and my whole setup fits is in front of the only window in the house, and the sun just like, let's try this. Actually, the background will be dark. Sorry. It's fine. Don't worry about it, Riikka. Don't worry about it. It's fine. There is so much unnecessary drama written in my gameplay notes, such as Sawyer getting absolutely bullied by girls he had crushes on, and Bridget, Theo's stepsister, asking Genevieve, Theo's new waifu, out on a date. I believe they were neighbors. There's drama for days, but we have to focus. We have to lock in so we can get through the important stuff. Now, Jordy, my in real life boyfriend at the time, soon to be husband, potentially in the next 2 months. We don't know. It's a long story, okay? But we're getting married in like the next couple months, which is why my bangs are so long, because I'm waiting to get them trimmed for the wedding day. Anyway, Jordy, boyfriend at the time, soon to be husband, he buys me nice things sometimes. And he bought me Snowy Escape because this was around when Snowy Escape came out, okay? This legacy is old. I downloaded the pack and I rushed into the mountains with Sawyer and Monica for like, I pretended it was like spring break or something for them. It was a very fun time. Thanks, G. Also being self-conscious about my chubby arms, but that's fine. We love chubby arms. It's why I got this tattoo here, to cover up some of the fat. And I like looking at it, so that's fine. I'm just being real. Sawyer taught himself how to program from a young age. He even hacked his school grades a couple times and didn't get caught. He spent a lot of time on the internet, some of which was on the dark web. Have you ever been on the dark web? I have not. Where he stumbled across a small underground organization called the Hackeritans. Basically, they were a group of skilled hackers doing on the down low jobs for the good of simkind. For example, they would hack corrupted companies or private people to confiscate material and resources they planned on using to their advantage, that being the corrupted people, to their advantage for blackmail or other immoral actions. Sawyer ended up befriending some of these guys, and once he turned 18, he was hired by them. He switched the luxurious penthouse to an unoccupied barn in Brindleton Bay, which he got to stay in for free in exchange for work on the small farm. He liked to live simple and frugal. There was not much money to be paid from his work with the hair I literally made up this word and I cannot say it to this day. The Hackeritans, so he did legit freelance programmer work on the side, which helped keep up appearances to the Hungarian because like it's, you know, like Samaritan, is that the English word? And then I thought of like Samaritan and then the word heck and then Hungarian. The background is so dark. Ooh, let's think it's just like the gloomy vibes of the gloomy day. Sawyer briefly dated an adult entertainment star, Sofia Björksen.
Björksen,
who he married on a dare. Luckily, the marriage was able to be annulled and the two stayed friends. She will come up later though. Then it was Monica's turn to turn 18. Thank goodness she had finally cut ties with Orange and was growing closer with her mom and brother, again without this great divide between them. Life moved fast with her. She was pretty much whisked away by a prince. Yes, an actual prince of Simlandia called Eugene. Wait, did I make a Tangled reference without realizing it? That is definitely something I would have done. I wouldn't even be surprised. They fell madly in love, and shortly, Monica moved into the palace with him. I built a palace. It was ugly. We won't speak of it. Through meeting Eugene, Sawyer met the Princess Annika, and we'll come back to that later. Sawyer was a big fan of this reality TV show called The Llama Games, which in my Sims world is like the equivalent of the Super Bowl, which I've never seen. But I think I know the premise. The Llama Games is a series of random challenges through this course you have to finish in the least amount of time, and then the top 3 contestants compete in a game of don't wake the llama in the end, and then they each get cash, and there's a lot of cash involved, but you can also die during the course. Like, you can die in at least 2 ways. It's really random, but it's really fun. It's just something I made years ago, and sometimes I do play it for fun, but Sawyer actually competed in it, came in 3rd, and brought home 50k simoleons, which he saved to buy a house one day. But for now, he rented an apartment in Evergreen Harbor. The reason I'm also not centered is because underneath my desk, I have this set of drawers that is too heavy for me to move on my own, and it cuts off my access to this side of the table. And I could center the camera, but then you could see my ugly kitchen. We don't want that. Now, here's where Sawyer dipped his toe into the immoral waters, you could say. He got a hint that his ex Olive joined a mafia, an organization he and his team at the Heck Eridans had I had under their radar. They used spying equipment and thought it'd be kind of funny to test it on Olive. So in Strangerville, what's the pack called? Is it just called Strangerville? I don't care. You can buy these bugs that you can plant on people. So Sawyer planted a bug on Olive and got information that would help them in the future. So they asked Sawyert, I've written Sawyert, to keep tabs on her. So he made it his goal to befriend Olive. Bro, what if? Hear me out. Okay. Hear me out again. It's fine. Now people can just see into my apartment better. I don't like that. We're trying it this way. Okay, it's trial and error. I'm also avoiding adulting and checks phone to see if a scary phone call has been made. It has not. And leaving the house. I'm avoiding all of it, so I'm doing this. On Llama Day, which is also a holiday I've made up, Sawyer went clubbing with friends, and Princess Annika tagged along. See, what Sawyer didn't know was that she had a huge crush on him. She was shy, but asked him to dance, and let's just say it became clear to Sawyer on the dance floor that she was into him. But, and I hate to admit this because I love Sawyer so much, I also controlled every action of his. Anyway, he was young and dumb, and he ditched Annika and went to woohoo another girl, making Annika leave out of jealousy. The Hecarians would often meet up at a cat cafe where Sawyer found a Happy Pride Month. a stray cat called Rhea and adopted her. Olive yelled at Rhea. Olive was officially cancelled. Okay, but then on Love Day, Annika came over to Sawyer's house and was like, you know what, I'm gonna shoot my shot. She confessed her feelings for Sawyer. He was surprised, but definitely not opposed to it. What he knew of Annika, he found very interesting, especially her wanting to be independent from the crown and become a doctor, which she wasn't exactly allowed to do since there was a whole other future planned for her. But she'd decided as soon as she got the courage, she'd come clean to the royal family about her plans of distancing herself from her title. In this intimate moment they shared on Sawyer's couch, he felt comfortable enough to share to her what he does for a living. Big risk, but he knew he'd probably regret it, but something compelled him to be honest with her and allow her to see the real him, as like she was doing to him. Instead of freaking out and threatening to turn him in for his crimes, since the Hecaridans were in a morally gray area, even though their crimes were meant to fight crime anyway, she got really turned on. Yeah, they did it on the couch right there, and ever since that moment they were inseparable. And now let me tell you, as much as I loved Sawyer, I also loved Annika and their story, and just let's cover that right now. Sawyer's co-worker and best friend, Aaron Beta. Is that, by the way, how you say it? Because that's Beta is how I've always said it.
Beta.
I'm sorry, maybe I should Google these things. For as much as I fucking love names, I'm too lazy to Google how they're pronounced, and then I complain about anyone outside of Finland not knowing how to spell or pronounce my name. I'm just as bad. It's fine. Sawyer's best friend, Aaron Beta, had 2 kids, Stacy and Miles, who will be important in Generation 9. And then Monica and Eugene got married. She had been working a corporate job up until now, but quit to become a mother and a full-time royal family member. She moved into the castle, once again, it was ugly, with her ghost cat, Nougat. Do I talk about that later? Oh, I talk about it right now. Monica and this ghost cat Nougat, they were an iconic duo. There was even a children's book written about them called The Princess and the Ghost Cat. Monica became one of the most historically well-known Sims of this legacy, and I never played with her again. However, I did keep up with the royal family bloodline for 5 generations after this, but it was only to create another heir in Cass, so not really. However, Monica and Eugene had a baby girl, Dana, who, by the way, the original royal family members were spellcasters, and Dana was also born one, and so Dana was a part of that bloodline. And there was a glitch back then where spellcaster children did not have chins. I don't know if I have a screenie. I must have. Try my best to find you a screenie of what I mean, but they did not have chins. I misspoke a little bit. It's not that they didn't have chins, but it was like the chin blended really weird with the neck. I wish I had a side profile picture of this, because you can't see the full extent from this, but like this is basically what it looked like. It looked weird, and the chin would kind of glitch where it would have like a sliver of a gap of where you could just see through the skin. So Dana looked quite interesting. Beautiful, yes, but a little off. She married a prince from Papria, another kingdom in our universe, in my universe. I made a fucking map at one point. And Dana and this prince had Scarlet, who will come up again in Gen 9. It's the lighting. I'm literally gonna stop worrying about it. I'm gonna stop worrying about it. Sawyer managed to gather lots of incriminating info and evidence on Olive, and backed up by his co-workers, blackmailed her, which made them sworn enemies, which he will regret later on. Meanwhile, Annika came out to her parents with the kind of person she aspires to be, which was not the perfect princess everyone expected her to be. Is that sentencing? As she suspected, it did not go well. She was kicked out of the castle and written out of the will. Though this broke her heart, she didn't end up alone, because Sawyer bought them their dream house in Willow Creek using the money he got from the llama games, and thus started her era of self-discovery and chasing her dreams. Eventually, she became a successful doctor, as was her dream, and loved every second of it. And another calling of hers had always been to start a family, which was more crucial to her now after she had lost hers. Sawyer and Annika had 2 children, Ramona and Grayson. He, being Grayson, suffered a serious illness as a toddler, but was luckily cured and lived a happy life. And I never played with him again. Now for something heartwarming. In her last years, Harriet, who was still kicking, by the way, because I didn't turn on lifespans, auto-aging, all that, until generations 20 and no clue. Harriet wrote and published a book about her life, but that was not enough. She wanted to prevent any woman from going through what she had. Remember ex-husband Ian, for instance? So together with her daughter Theo, she co-founded an organization called No Woman Left Behind, all about supporting and uplifting women everywhere. And this organization was passed down the generations. We're done with Sawyer. To wrap it up for Sawyer, he worked with the Hecaridans his whole life. Almost, and helped the group become more legit, as he became a legit detective later in life to further help fight for justice. He was a devoted husband and father and lived a very happy life. Okay, how do we feel about Sawyer? I genuinely loved him so much as I played with him, and I still do. He's pretty iconic and hot. He was hot. Okay, how many more gens do I have scripted? Because I feel like it's 1. And then it's 2. Correct? Scroll, because it's so long. Yes, I have 2 more. Should I have lunch? Should I adult? I don't think so. Here is where the background of Sawyer and Olive's drama comes into play, because when Ramona was a kid, she was actually kidnapped by Olive and kept in a basement until her dad and his Hecaridan buddies came to her rescue. It took years for Ramona to fully understand what happened that night, among learning what her father did for a living. After that conversation, she felt nothing but admiration towards Sawyer and the other men she'd known all her life, and something sparked inside her, a career calling, if you will. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Without this incident, I'd say Ramona had a wonderful childhood. Growing up, Ramona's best friend and other half was Miles Beta, the son of one of Sawyer's best friends, Aaron. As teenagers, Miles and Ramona were madly in love, exchanged promise rings, and swore to be together forever. When Ramona turned 18, she sat her parents down and told them her plan for the future, which was inspired by Sawyer's fight for justice. She was going to join the military. Unfortunately, Miles was not very fond of this idea because it required Ramona moving to the desert of Strangerville, while Miles's calling was in the island of Solani. Heartbroken, they broke up and went their separate ways to follow their dreams. In my gameplay, Oasis Springs is a military-heavy environment, and that's where a big military base is. But the reason Ramona went to Strangerville's base instead was because for years she'd been obsessed over allegations and conspiracy theories surrounding the town. And I'm going to shorten this story to save time, because I have like many a page written about like detailed descriptions of why and how this whole thing happened. But to seriously save us time, here's what happened in like bullet points. Okay, right, so I did not like the way I told the story the first time, so here's an even shorter and simpler way to put it. The military had done dangerous experiments in the secret lab in Strangerville and accidentally created this monstrous, murderous, and toxic plant. Things got out of control. The military locked that part of the lab tight, but not soon enough. because without knowing, they now carried a virus which spread through the town, making people ill. The truth and the cause of the virus never reached the public, and people who got ill often went missing. Traffic to and from the town was monitored heavily. Ramona had heard conspiracy theories and allegations and was fascinated by this case, so she made it her mission to join the military, get sent to the Strangerville base, and uncover this whole case. The deeper she got into the mystery, the more her motivation grew, but she wasn't going to get anything done by being a good little soldier when the military refused to get their hands dirty and save the town by going back into that part of the lab with the plant. So Ramona formed her own secret group of soldiers and townsfolk, including a bartender called Martin Shields, who she was hooking up with. She was trying to get over Miles and whatever. And now, long story short, this group went rogue, uncovered the truth about this monstrous plant deep underground, and they went in to kill it, and somehow they succeeded, although there were a couple casualties, including Martin, unfortunately, and Ramona carried the guilt of losing these people for the rest of her life, because she was the one to get all of them involved, even though all of them wanted to. As long as the survivors agreed to sign a bunch of non-disclosure agreements, they were not punished, and got paid some hush-hush money to never leak what had happened to the public, and Ramona went with it because she felt like she'd done what she'd set out to do, which was to save the town. Now, she was undoubtedly traumatized and exhausted and broke the NDA to tell her family and Miles, who flew immediately to her aid. Miles and Ramona decided to just embrace their love for each other, and Ramona moved gladly to Solani to be with him, and with the hush-hush money, they bought an underwater house, which I built. Yes, the castle was ugly, okay, but I was damn proud of this house. And I think that's it. That was better. The two lived in peace for a while. Miles's calling was conservation and helping the island of Solani thrive, and Ramona did that alongside him until she grew bored and needed to get her hands dirty again, so she took a job as a secret agent and did that for pretty much her whole life, even as an elder, because she had the workaholic lifestyle at this point and she just kept going in work off hours, and yeah. She became the mother of Shari. I think some people pronounce it Sherry. Maybe it's supposed to be pronounced like Sherry. Once again, I'm not looking that shit up.
Shari.
Because in my head, her name is Shari. Much like Shari, Peahands Shari from Animal Crossing. Yeah, I named her after Peahands Shari, the Peahands monkey from Animal Crossing. Are we surprised we're not? Shari was our generation 20. Twin? And now Riikka, is that a number? She became the heir of our generation 10, and whatever, Ramona had Shari, and then spent every day in love with her soulmate Miles, and worked on making the world a better place, not only with her career, but she took over No Woman Left Behind, the foundation/organization co-funded by Harriet and Theo. Yeah, and then she also published essay collections such as Lace Up Your Combat Boots and Chain of Screaming, where she described the challenges she and her peers faced being a woman in the military, and it was nominated for the Starlight Accolades Award. I almost got through that without. So Ramona had a cool, successful, rewarding, and fulfilling life all together. Now, I do this thing, which I love, and that was to take 6 screenies of Miles and Ramona's relationship throughout the years, and this makes me sob. Like, the last one makes me sob. Ugh, I love these Sims. Anyway, that was Generation Now 9. Woo! And I have time for one more. How long is it? How long? Jesus Christ. Can I do this before lunch? You know what? I don't want to be cranky. I'm having lunch. Do you want to know what I did? Do you want to know what I did? I dropped off my marriage license application, whatever it is, the permission that you have to get from the government in order to get married, so I can marry my long distance partner of 5 years. And I did that today. And it's been such a long time coming. It's been such a long time coming. I know this has nothing to do with the video. This is just like a personal message from me to me. Okay, I want future Riikka from like a year or two from now to come back to this video and be like, she got everything she dreamed of. She married that man so hard. So I've been running on coffee, grapes, and love this whole day. But we're getting back to it. Don't mind me. Shari Larsen is one of my favorite Sims of all time. Growing up, she was a total daddy's girl and struggled getting along with her mother, but in her teens she became impressed with all the good Ramona had done and admired her quite a lot. Shari showed a strong personality from the get-go. She loved science and nature and obsessed over collecting things. She was very materialistic. She was so smart, in fact, that at 16 years old, she got accepted into Brightchester and Foxbury Institute of Technology, a boarding school where she went into a handiness and robotics program. She wasn't too sad to leave Solani and her family behind, and was instead motivated and ready to do something awesome with her life. I've often sent my teens into study programs like this or done something else fun, because the teen years are just too long. You know, even on a normal lifespan, I mean, they're not too long now that I have like fun things to do with my teens, but like back in the day when I didn't do anything, it was like Shari was best friends with her cousin Scarlett Ascaria Larsen. Yeah, you know, I have these. They're like, it's this specific part of my hair that's just straight and always has been. It doesn't look that straight now, but look. And then look. And then look. I'm being so annoying. Anyway, she was best friends with her cousin Scarlett, who was the princess of Simlandia and Papria, another made-up country I made, who was born to Rincess/Queen Dana, who was Monica and Eugene's daughter. I'm gonna pull up a family tree for you right here. Born to Dana and born to the prince of Papria. I don't know, how should we say it? Papria sounds cute. The prince of Papria named Rashad Ascaria. I like Ascari better. Papria and Ascaria. Rashad Ascaria. Slay. So, Shari's cousin was royalty and they were besties all throughout their lives. Scarlett snuck into Shari's dorm. Scarlett snuck into Shari's dorm a lot to escape the palace. She was a hopeless romantic. We like her. At school, Shari had a crush on her roommate Jairus, who she would snuggle and watch classic films with. Before that developed into anything serious, Shari kept running into this uni student called Hawea Lahela. How have I ever pronounced these names? Who didn't seem half bad except for the times he ran around terrified and screaming for no apparent reasons. I hope I have screenies of this. Should have been a red flag. Probably. Shari finished high school in this program, and it prepped her well for the life to come. The romance between Shari and Jairus was there, but it was subtle and on and off. She wasn't sure of her sexuality yet, and wasn't ready to explore it further at this point. There was a party at the end of senior year where Diamond, Shari's other cousin, adopted by Grayson, Ramona's brother, and his partner, tried to woo this Hawaii guy, which was when Shari admitted to herself that she had feelings for him. Shari turned 18, cried into her birthday cake because everybody forgot to show up to her dinner party, and she began her prestigious physics degree program in uni on the same campus that she had been on. Jairus moved away and the two decided to just stay friends, which was handy because Hawaii was finally showing some interest, romantic interest in Shari. Sorry. At this point, I was pretty sure that Shari would end up with this man. But then she had this roommate called Marie Bannister, and they did not get along at first, like not at all. But then they gave me some, delicious queer vibes. And I was about to throw Hawaii right out the window. But then he confessed his feelings for Shari. They bought paintings together at a festival, planning to put them in their own home, and all this future planning led to a heat of the moment proposal. So I guess Mary was the one that went out the window. She's fucking hot. How hot is it? 22 degrees. My little Finnish ass can't take this. Miles and Ramona were concerned about these two rushing into things because they also moved in together, but they were happy to see their daughter happy. Shari did, however, have the single and loving it lifestyle, which made her constantly second guess if the relationship and like moving in and everything was the right choice. Okay, now you know the neighborhood action plans that come with eco lifestyle. Yeah, one of them is sharing is caring, which allows you to steal items from other lots without getting caught. But Sims can also show up to your house and steal your shit. I didn't know this one existed, so I will be directly quoting from my notes.
Priya just wiped one of our paintings. It was one of the paintings they bought together. Oh my god, no, she stole our bookshelf. Fuck. Wait, what about our couch? Where's our couch? That bitch stole our couch too.
I vividly remember thinking this was a glitch and went to Little Simsy's Discord server asking for help, as I have done a few times. And some kind person told me it was the neighborhood action plan. In fact, not a glitch. And I repealed that shit so fast. I've never tried it the other way around though. Like if you have that neighborhood action plan, can you like go to other people's places and steal shit? I haven't tried that. Hawea graduated with a biology degree and went into the astronaut career. And I made him be like I'm a biologist. I think I had a better name for it. I definitely did, but I don't remember. I bet it was something just like intergalactic biologist. That was probably it. Shari and him got married. Just like I'm a fact. And since she did not enjoy this apartment lifestyle they were living in an environment, they moved to Willow Creek instead. And not just anywhere in Willow Creek, but to the newly renovated and remodeled house of our Larsen Legacy founder, Sunday. After 10 generations, natural disasters, and one intergalactic war, it was still standing. So we moved in there. It went from yellow to blue. I really liked this idea too, but it was a fucking pain. It was a fucking pain to like floor plan to furnish the house. The living room was just too small, but it was cute. Her last year of uni, Shari struggled balancing her uni coursework, No Woman Left Behind, side hustles, academic burnout, body image issues, all of that. She and Hawea attended a panel at uni to debate whether a college education is worth it or not. He got bitten by an alien at work, so he was a bit pissy on top of his usual paranoia, which was usually only witnessed by Shari, but at this event, the panel, he screamed at Shari in front of everyone and like panicked and ran around. He was not mentally well. I said Shari struggled with body image, and I won't get too into that to avoid like triggering anyone. I just think it's important, for me at least, to have mental health issue rep in my gameplay. I recently got diagnosed with an ED after like 18 years. But yeah, I find mental health rep important in my gameplay, and my gameplay is also very important for maintaining my mental health. Anyway, Shari had gained weight from all the stress, so she drank one of those Instalines, which is like a reward point perk thingy, and it made her super skinny. Did this fix anything for her? No. She wrote a book on academic burnout and graduated, but there was this glitch. Of course there was a glitch. There was this glitch going on where she failed an entire class, an entire class out of nowhere, and would not have graduated if I didn't cheat it. And if I had just had her go back to uni to redo that class, it would have taken 7 in-game days. No! Anyway, I cheated her graduation, and she got a great job as an engineering technician at a big company. She then became pregnant and had twins, Belinda-Bee and Aaron Oliver. Isn't the name Belinda-Bee just the cutest name ever? Due to Hawaya's Plumgrovian religion, which is a cute, wholesome religion that I've made up, the religion has this tradition where children have two-parter names. And notice how I've used the name Aaron because that was one of Sawyer's besties, if you remember, and also the dad of Miles, Shari's father. Also, I love giving these like little random nuggets of information nobody needs or asks for, but they add to the lore. So Belinda was named. Do you have a guess? Do you know who I'm talking about? Do you know a Belinda? She was named after Belinda from the podcast My Dad Wrote a Porno, one of my favorite podcasts, which I was obsessed with at the time. Damn, I really need to listen to it again. I was playing Minecraft like yesterday and listening to old episodes, but was this like 2022? It was like the summer of 2022 and I was sitting outside crocheting a blanket and listening to My Dad Wrote a Porno. It is once again one of those days when I should be sitting out there and enjoying it while it lasts. I'm inside. I'm an inside person. So named after Belinda from that podcast. Sawyer also owned a spaceship of his own, and one time Miles showed up unannounced and helped him build it. And I remember being like, oh, I know, that's so cute. It's like father-in-law is helping him build his little space rocket ship. But then Miles like started yelling at Sawyer and insulted him, and then I was like, aw, damn it. Shari was thriving. While Sawyer was building rocket ships, Shari was building servos, and she called her first one Robot Downey Jr. I got that off of Google. And later built him a partner called Android, also off Google. She was also awarded the Woman of Science award, built her social media following, and wrote a memoir called Child of the Islands, going deep into the value of Sulani and balancing all this with her motherhood. Like that's what all the shit that she was doing like at the same time. Do we need a little sip? Should I get alcohol? No. Yes? No. Should I just like go to the store and buy a thing of sangria? No. At this point, I had introduced my chaos randomizer system into my gameplay, and out of left fucking field, Shari was injected with the Dalian DNA and became part alien. Cause like, why the fuck not? And the abnormalities... En käy sitä sangria vielä. The abnormalities in her body did not help with her body image issues. And if this wasn't bad enough, Sawyer was asleep, and got abducted by aliens. Like, why would you not? Why would you not? I mean, you're an intergalactic fucking biologist and your wife is now part alien. Like, why wouldn't you get abducted? But he came back perknat. And the way I spun all this was that Sawyer at work had angered a group of aliens who were now targeting his family. Does anyone remember this in-game event called the Sim Session Festival, where it was these 3 real artists performing? I don't know. Shari and Sawyer went to that, and here's a couple screenies of that. It feels like a fever dream because like no one talks about this event anymore. So at the same time I'm like, did I imagine it? And I probably would think that I did if I didn't have these screenies. Do you remember it happening? What I hinted at a little bit, not just like hinted at it, but like said it out loud, was that Sawyer was not mentally stable. He got these random fits of rage and paranoia, but what did I say? He had been able to hide it from his employers up until now. But now going through this change in his body, you know, being pregnant with an alien baby, he was getting worse and worse. And it got so bad that he was actually fired and his pilot's license was revoked because, you know, this led him to finally like spiral out of control. We're getting married. We're almost done with Shari, promise. Sawyer made the decision to give away this alien baby, but Shari was hesitant. She was that way because of Kit Larsen from the first episode, Gen 4, who also got abducted and decided to keep the baby, but in the end, this was not enough to make Sawyer change his mind, and since Shari didn't, you know, have any genetic claim to the baby, her opinion did not matter. The children were teens at this point, and they were both rebellious due to their complicated relationship with Sawyer. And during my Sunday rolls, the chaos randomizer that I used every Sunday, I rolled for the kids to throw a party while the parents were out of town, and they both got it on. BB began dating Olivia. Olivia Finn. She started dating Olivia Finn, and Aaron started dating a popular girl, like the most popular girl in their grade, probably Lynn Ito. And then Hawea was tragically eaten by our cowplant Mansikki. Kiitos Mansikki. Terkut Mansikille. This was truly a tragic accidente, and it left the family shattered. But I also have some cursed screenies of a million garden gnomes surrounding the cow plant that are just hilarious. I'm pretty sure I also sent those to Simsy's server. But yeah, anyway, RIP to Awea. Shari wasn't alone for long because a romance and a partnership was rekindled with, can you guess who? Should have been Marie. Like, it literally, I have regrets. It should have been Marie, but it was Jairus. They worked things out, and I think they were endgame, unless I forgot something. Pulls up family tree. I do not think she got with Marie, but like, what if she did? Nah, it just says Hawea and Jairus. But on a positive note, Shari could never shake the image of this little alien baby Hawea gave away. So much later, when BB and Aaron Oliver had moved out, Shari tracked this boy down, and his name was Aldrin, and he moved in with her, and it was lovely, and they were besties, and yeah. So that was like a happy ending, I guess. And now that's a wrap on Shari, because, you know, she lived a highly successful, powerful, and rich life. Here are some like more cool screenies I took of her. And she was a devoted mother and a trendsetter, and her name's definitely in the history books, and that was Shari. Now, Belinda-Bee's part is much shorter, trust, but we have to cover that well before we can get to Gen 12, which that one is gonna blow you away, hopefully. I'm looking forward to that so much. So, are you ready? Are we ready? Okay. As you can imagine, from what I've just told you, life in the Lahila Larsen household was not always smooth sailing. And I've kind of spoiled now what happened with Hawea and everything. But when he was in his right mind, he was a good dad, and he loved his kids very much. And as I mentioned, he grew up religious. And one of their traditions was church every Sunday morning, which were these calm and cozy little gatherings where you'd chat with people and then read in silence, and then you'd go home and you'd cook and bake with your family. Isn't that cozy? I love that. Shari did not belong to this religion, but the kids did. And my Sunday morning tradition was to use my chaos randomizer or chaos generator, whatever I call it. I call it different things all the time. And as a fun little side note, my servo robot, en ole ottanut sitä sangria. My servo robot Downey Jr. got drafted into mandatory military service. So that was fun. This is when Hawea got pregante with Aldrin, and shit hit the fan in the family, because he was not in his right mind. He took all his anger out on the family, specifically the kids, and with the tension that high in the family, it was not a great environment for the kids to grow up in, and they had these constant mood swings and rebellious phases. Now, timeline wise, they are teens. Aaron Oliver and Belinda-Bee are teens right now, and Hawea is not dead yet. I hope I didn't make this too confusing. And then the kids threw the party, and they were dating. BB dating Olivia Finn, and Aaron was dating Lynn Ito. And the kids grew up very close to each other and were each other's rocks throughout this very rocky childhood, I guess. This is where Hawea got eaten by our cowplant Mansikki. Terkut Mansikille. It was a confusing time for the twins because, of course, they mourned the father they loved, but like at the same time, they were honestly a little relieved that they didn't have to deal with his behavior anymore. And when they turned 18, they got an apartment in San Myshuno, where Aaron Oliver started his career as a comedian, and Belinda-Bee became an interior designer. By this point, she had built a big social media following and platform, and she was a very popular streamer and influencer. She was so cool. I love her. She was iconic. I love her. Later, she founded. Which one is it? She built her own little fashion and beauty brand called Plumette. Because you know, like plum grows and it's the plum and then it's plumette skirts. Anyway, Belinda-Bee met a girl on the street, and I vividly remember the double take I had to do when I saw her, and immediately gave her a makeover, and she became BB's a filthy rich supermodel waifu Desiree. And I need you to take a look with me at the screenies from their wedding, and I was drooling over how pretty they were, and I definitely put these in Little Simsi's Discord. I remember, of course I did, and I got complimented on how pretty they were, and I just remember thinking yum. It was a whole moment. So they became filthy rich and famous, and they got this huge penthouse with their filthy riches, and almost lived happily ever after. If their life hadn't been tragically ruined, which you learn in a little bit. Speaking of a life ruining, Aaron Oliver had a side gig of working with the Hikaritans. Yeah, by the way, they're back, they're still here, and unfortunately he ran into some trouble with the law and he got put in prison. Oh, which was definitely a chaos randomizer generator thing for sure. But that not only tanked his reputation and career as a comedian, but he did miss the birth of his son that he had with this popular girl from high school, Lynn, and they ended up being fine as a family in the suburbs of Willow Creek, and had 2 kids, Neri Neve and Lucas Lee, who produced one more gen, and then that branch of the family tree died. And then, Belinda-Bee and Desiree had this legacies, and probably my first ever anyway, same-sex couple biological child, which was not possible back then without mods. Now you can have a science baby, which is great. It's actually fantastic. But yeah, I had to cheat it, and it was not easy. But yes, they had their own biological child named Marni-Olivia, our Generation 12 heir. But also, how could I forget? We had 2 cats. We had Daedalus, although I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce it, but I keep forgetting how you pronounce it no matter how many times I look it up, so I'm gonna say Daedalus, and that was named after the Luck series. Oh, you can't see, they're right behind that plant. There is my Luck series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which I binge read this summer when I was playing this, and I love that series. That's my Twilight, that's my Hunger Games, that's my Divergent, whatever you had, those series. Wasn't a vampire girl, a werewolf girl. My occult preferences, aliens and wizards. Aliens specifically, but wizards too, but aliens, oh my god. I'm gonna get the books. I'm gonna show you. Hi. I'm Riikka. I like things. Okay. Chill, Belly. You see? If you're a fan of Twilight, or just any angsty teen paranormal romance, I need you to read these. It's a great time. It's a fun time. This right here is the first one. Read it. Oh yeah, I was talking about the fucking cats. Daedalus was the first cat, and then we got Squee the sushi cat, which was her full government name. After years of life in this lavish penthouse, both Belly and Desiree grew tired of it, so they temporarily moved into their Wait, oh my god, this reminds me of something. They temporarily moved into their family vacation house in Solani. But this reminds me of when Whitney and her husband in the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives moved to Hawaii at the very beginning. Girl. Anyway, this family vacation home was built on Kit Larsen's old lot, which was pretty cool. And so Belly looked forward to connecting with the islands, as both of her parents were born and raised there. And it quickly became apparent that this would be a better place to raise Marni-Olivia. And so they moved to Solani permanently. And okay, this is where we're making such a huge time jump that I've actually switched gameplay notes. We'll polish up the rest of Belinda-Bee's life later, but actually not even in this video. It has to be the next one. But now, please join me. Let's jump right into Marni-Olivia's tragic story. I'm so excited. We are skipping straight to when Marni-Olivia was a teenager, around 16, 17. Can that be right? Actually, let's say 17, 18. Okay. She befriended a uni student in physics called Sauron Alistair, let's say Sauron, through a study program, and she was intrigued by how smart this woman was and her wild ideas and ambitious goals. I wanted to be just like her. Does she look familiar to you? Well, Sauron took Marni-Olivia into the lab she was apprenticing in, which was filled with strange machines of all kinds. And Sauron claimed that the owner of this lab was mad, and that's how all these machines came to exist. Now, I actually never polished up this part of the story, and it doesn't need to be polished up. I don't think so. We'll just pretend that it's kind of a mystery for now, okay? But so this Sauron character is actually once again our Generation 3 heir, unhinged heir, Kayla Larsen, here to cause disaster. And I feel like I did come up with a better story for this. Maybe I did somewhere in my gameplay notes later, but in any case, these machines you see here are more wormhole generators Kayla had reinvented and worked on for years. If you don't remember Kayla in Generation 3, in the first Storytime video, she made a wormhole generator, and that's how she started the intergalactic war. But yeah, now she had made a bunch of new ones, and our poor Marni-Olivia got sucked into one of them. Now, was that way too casual? I don't know. We will be leaving behind this world with all of our beloved Sims and get transported through this machine not only back or forth in time, but to a completely different dimension. Dimension. Yes, besties, it's about to get fucked up. This meant that Marni was now completely abandoned and alone, not understanding what had just happened, not knowing where she was, having nothing but the clothes on her back, and luckily her backpack, which consisted of a carved candle from her mother, a knitted baby onesie she had purchased for a friend, her lucky charm, which was a moon panda toy from her toddler days, an autographed photo of Aaron Oliver, her uncle, a recent selfie with her mother, and a yellow knitted octopus. Now, these were not exactly survival tools, but no, this really happened. She got sucked through the machine to a whole other dimension with no way of going back because the portal it broke. So she was just stuck here. She had no idea what was going on. She was scared out of her mind, and the cool autumn weather turned even colder at nights, and a few days went by as she explored and found these are so weird. I need a second. Una segunda or whatever, I don't know. She found I can do it. I just need a moment. She found an abandoned shed with some extra clothes and shelter, and extra clothes and shelter until she had a not so cute meet cute with the first human she'd seen, a young man with shiny blonde hair. They immediately got off on the wrong foot as Marni tried to beg for help and explain this whole ordeal, and he wasn't having any of it, and Marni was obviously confused, why things were so different where she was, and why this person wasn't understanding what a cell phone is. But Marni stubbornly followed him until he agreed to take her to his home. He, however, lost her on purpose, leaving her stranded and lost even deeper in the woods, where a bunch of foxes attacked her. She then kind of gave up and curled up under a tree, which wasn't you're not supposed to. It wasn't a great choice because she got ambushed by a thunderstorm and a bolt of lightning struck the tree she was hiding under, and she was badly injured. Upsetty spaghetti. Isn't this kind of a breath of fresh air? This complete change of scenery, timeline. Let me tell you, I had the best time playing this generation, and so I highly recommend if you're ever bored with your gameplay, just do something random. Like, do a full 180. Like, send your sim to an alternate reality. Just, it'll be fun, I swear. Apparently, this guy had slept on it and felt a little bit bad about abandoning this strange girl in the middle of the woods. So he went looking for her and found her partly burnt to a crisp. No biggie. He carried her home where he and his parents healed her with both magic and non-magic remedies because they came from a bloodline of spellcasters. Yummy! We're gonna have some magic. Do you ever play with spellcasters? And if you... No, a follow-up question. Do you ever have them, like, complete the skill tree or whatever and, like... You know, like, do you ever put an effort to play with spellcasters or nah? I've tried to. I tried with Aubrey from like Gen 23. I think Aubrey was Gen 23. I really tried to, but it is a bit boring. Oh, and of course, I have to mention how this family and this setting came to be. So as a kid, I was in love with this story of Ronja Rövaryntytär, or in English, Ronja the Robber's Daughter, which is a book and a film adaptation that was also recently made into a Swedish TV show on Netflix, I think, by Astrid Lindgren, which summarized is a story of friendship between these two kids called Ronja and Birk, who come from rival families in the setting of this beautiful and deep forest with all these kinds of mystical creatures and this castle that's been broken in half by lightning that the two rival families are fighting over, and it's just so good. It's just so good. I watched that movie as a kid a million fucking times. And so anyway, when I was playing this Legacy, I also read the book for the first time, and that is what inspired this whole thing. And so I named the family after characters from Ronja Rövaryntytär and based Birk's appearance of the character as well. And I took this neighborhood of Henford on Bagley and imagined it was like this endless forest with this element of magic and living completely off the grid because electricity hadn't been invented yet and stuff, and it was so much fucking fun. I also highly recommend that book and movie and TV series. So Marni, nyt menee vähän liian suomalaiseksi tää, tai ruotsalaiseksi tää lausuminen. Marni-Olivia. Should she be named just like Marni? Stop. Okay. Marni's recovery from being burnt to a crisp took weeks, and by the end of it, nobody had come to take her back home. So she had to accept that this was her new reality, and the Borkansson family, consisting of Birk and his parents Borka and Undis. It's a struggle switching between like pronouncing things with the alphabet I was raised to pronounce and then English. Anyway, the Borkanssons, Birk, Borka and Undis welcomed Marni. I'm losing it. Can you tell I'm fucking losing it? Doink. They welcomed her into their household, but kind of as a housemaid, and she was giving a windowless room in the tower. So they were like, okay, we'll take you in to save your life, but like, you're not gonna be a freeloader. We're gonna watch you. Birk and Marni did not get along, at least most of the time, but they slowly warmed up to each other, and the more Marni told stories of how her world was, the more Birk started to believe that, you know, this chick wasn't just crazy, but might actually be telling the truth. So with that trust building, they started to fall in love. I missed a whole generation of hearts somehow. I do it like this. Marni spent her days doing laundry, gardening, having Undis teach her how to cook and bake, while Birk spent endless hours in the tower brewing potions his family dealt to others in the forest. I will mention now that just like Astrid Lindgren's Ronja the Robber's Daughter, the Borkansson family was quite infamous, and while we were not robbers, we did deal in things such as these potions that Birk was making, and we were pretty much on the top of the food chain in this environment, but that came with its dangers. Imagine it as like a medieval magical mafia, but like, yeah, well, you can imagine it like that. But anyway, after some time, Marni-Olivia married her now best friend and only friend to Birk Borkansson, and we did it right in our front yard with the chickens, and I think she looked so freaking cute. But it was not long after the wedding that they were expecting a child, which was scary to Marnie, and it broke her heart that she would not have her mother supporting and guiding her through the pregnancy and motherhood and everything. But she'd gotten used to this life by this point, and on good days was happy to live the simpler lifestyle that was so different from back home. Marni and Birk had 3 kids, Mona, Mikolas, and Kanerva. It was at this point that I finally started incorporating my own culture into my gameplay by not only using Finnish names, but names from my heritage, which is gonna be lovely in the upcoming few generations. Marni, nyt se tulloo sieltä taas, se tulloo sieltä. Marni also convinced Birk to have them give their children the last name Larsen, and he understood why that was so important to her. During these 3 pregnancies... Oh yeah, no, why did I think they were triplets? They were not. They were like 3 separate pregnancies. Anyway, during them, both Undis and Borka died. Undis was killed by a disease from a rabbit, which gives me Yusuf vibes from Generation 20 something. And Borka was killed by his rival, so leaving Marni-Olivia and Birk with their 3 tiny children. And here are a few screenies of how life was for them growing up, because shit's about to go sideways again in just a moment, because this was 2022. The world was on fire and my mental health, as I've written, was in the shredder. So what did I do? I burned the house down, killing off Birk and Marni-Olivia. Am I sorry about it? A little bit. And that's it. I killed her off. I killed off my heir because the world was on fire and my mental health took a big hit. So I was like, yeah, let's burn down the house. That sounds about right to me. So that's the end of Marni-Olivia's story, because she's dead. How do you feel about this change of scenery that we just had? This very, very different approach to at least my normal gameplay up until now. Did you have fun? Did you have fun with me today, just sitting with me, giggling, listening to me talk about my pixel people and my books and getting married and everything? I love. I'm just so grateful to get to feel this happy, and I'm not gonna take it for granted. So I hope you're happy too, genuinely, really. Even if you're not, like, I have so much energy and love to spread around right now, so like I'm sending you, hang on, pats. If I may touch you, here are some head pats. You deserve them. Thank you so much. If you've watched this whole video, I hope it's not too long, because I'm wrapping it up here. Okay, I have to end this video. We've made it 12 generations. We still have like 12 plus to go to get to where I'm currently at. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this format of just like sim storytelling. Yeah, I don't know how to do outros. I'm just gonna say I'm very happy and grateful to be here and that you're here too. I'm gonna go now.